Okay, so today we are going to talk about finding focus, vertex, directrix from a conic in standard form. Now we only know one conic at this point, and it is a parabola. Eventually we're going to learn two others. So we know this thing is a parabola. Now it has an x squared, so we know this is going to be x squared equals 4py. So we've got to get everything on the correct side. So we're going to leave the x stuff over here. So we've got negative 2x squared minus 4x. We need to move the y and the 70 to the other side. So that's negative y, sorry, not plus, but minus, make sure you don't forget to change signs, 70. Now we need to complete the square here. Now this is a little bit tougher because we've got a coefficient here we didn't have before. So we need to factor that negative 2 out first. So we're going to get x squared plus 2x. Okay? Now this is what needs to go into here for completing the square. So the x squared goes here, so that gives us x and x. And remember, we split this 2 in half. So half of positive 2 is positive 1. And 1 times 1 is positive 1. And that will make the factoring work because now those have a 1 and a 1. And we get the same thing that we want, same thing here, which is what we wanted. X plus 1 squared. Now remember, we can't just arbitrarily add 1. We got to keep it balanced, so we've got a minus whatever we did here, so that's going to be minus 1. Now we didn't change the other side, so that's still negative y, negative 70, okay? Now, we've got to be very cautious here, okay? Because we can't forget about this negative 2. This negative 2 is multiplying this stuff. So we've got to go ahead and take care of that. So we've got to be really cautious with this. That has to be distributed. So this is negative 2 x plus 1 squared, and negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. And we just need this x plus 1 squared by itself. So we've got to get rid of these two operations. So we're going to minus this 2 first. So when we minus that, we're going to get negative 72. X plus 1 squared, and now we need to divide everything by negative 2. So that's going to get us x plus 1 squared equals, and when we divide this by negative 2, we're going to get, what just happens? What happens when we divide negative 1 by negative 2? We get 1/2 y, and divide this, we're going to get 36, and it's going to be positive. And one last step here, we've got to factor this right side now that we moved everything over there. So we get x plus 1 squared, and though it seems weird, we got to factor that 1/2 out, because that 1/2 is going to be the 4p. So that's going to give me y plus, now if you take 36 and you divide it by 1/2, we're going to go back to the 72. And now this is our 4p, and these are our transformations. Now we're going to hold off on the sketch on this one. We're going to mainly find these points because this number is pretty big. Okay? But this transformation right here with the x, and this transformation here with the y tell us something. So this means that we're going to move to the left by 1, and this means this would move down by 72, which is pretty big. But it's okay. So let's go ahead and find all our stuff. So this is 4p, and since this is an x squared, it's up or down, and since 4p is positive, that means this is going to open upward because p was positive. So it means that our focus point here is going to be 0p, and we're going to have a y equals negative p for that asymptote. So let's find it without the transformations. So vertex without a transformation starts at 0, 0. Our focus is 0p. So we need to find p from this. So 4p equals 1/2. We've got to divide the 4 over. We're going to get an eighth, or 0.125. So let's leave it as, let's use 0.125. 0.125. And our directrix is going to be a y equals line. Y equals negative 0.125. So now we just need to transform this stuff, meaning we've got to apply these two transformations that we figured out to these values. So the left values, this is going to go ahead and change the x's. The x's are going to go down by 1. This is going to take the y's and it's going to make them go down by 72, which is quite a big number. So let's do that. Let's do the x's first. X's minus 1. So we get -1 and -1. Y's minus 72. So this is going to be minus 72. And we're going to take away 72 from that. So what are we going to get? We're going to get 71, negative 71, and that's going to be 0.875. Now, we've got to do the same thing over here. This is a y equals, so moving it up and down will change its position. So we've got to subtract 72 from that, which is going to give me y equals negative 71.125, and there's all of our information to graph. The only reason I'm skipping the graph here is because this is a really big number, but it wouldn't be that hard to set up and sketch if we really, really wanted to. And heck, let's give it a shot. We want to go down how far? All the way down into this negative 72 range, right? I'm sorry, this should be 72, not 71. I apologize. So all the way down to this 72 range. So -1, negative 72. So let's say this is -1, and let's say this is negative 72. So that right there is our vertex. Our focus is just above it, just a touch above it. So it's about right here. Our directrix is just slightly below this thing. And we can make this, because I said sketch this, really not perfect by labels. So we know that our graph is going to open this way, like this. We know that this is going to be negative 72.125. This point right here is -1, negative 72. And this point right here, it was -1, negative 71.875. That would be perfect for a sketch, okay? Hit me up. Let me know if you need some help. Bye, guys.